Welcome back. So we all love our Nollywood. We love the bright lights, we love the beauty, we love the color, we love the glamour. And in fact, when we watch some of those movies, sometimes we cry, sometimes we laugh, and sometimes we reflect. But there are some forces, I believe, who are behind the scene, who put all of those together and make you marvel. Ladies and gentlemen, let's celebrate one of our legends. Movie director, script writer, culture ambassador. I could go on and on. Perhaps even cleric in the making. Chief Ambassador Lancelot Odua Imaswe. Welcome to the Morning Brief on Channels Television.
Good morning, guys. Man, I'm blushing.
We can say the
Good
same.
morning. So nice to be here, honestly.
Yeah. Good to see
my last time was with Alero. Yeah, some years back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Amazing. So this is not, you've come back home.
Yeah.
So let's start this way. You're high on culture. And in fact, you won an award from one of the many kings of Benin some years back for being a culture ambassador.
Right.
And you, in fact, recently produced a documentary, Benin, Land of Kings. Tell us what inspired that.
Wow, I love it when I get to meet the media and they are so prepared, and sometimes I'm caught off my feet. I like that angle. Well, I'm a cultural activist. The motivation was I grew up in Benin. We're very rich in culture, and being in the theater, we do those cultural songs and all that. And that gave me an insight into, I became very inquisitive to know more about where I come from. Then I read the late Professor Larutimi's Overame Nogbaisi, and that remained. So I told myself that when I got into filmmaking, by the way, next year I'll be 30 sound years behind the camera.
Wow,
as a filmmaker.
Wow.
I'm announcing that for the first, and the celebration has actually started. It's going to be the whole of next year anyway, marking 30 years behind the camera. So I, after reading Overame Nogbaisi, I got really, really intrigued. And again, I was opportune to see a stage play of the same story written by Professor Ahmed Yerima. It was tied to the trials of Oba Vorame. And I was wondering, Professor Olaruchimi, a Yoruba man, did that work and was staged at the Ugbe Stadium in 1973. And Professor Ahmed Yerima from the northern part of Nigeria also wrote the same way. I said, where is, from the place where this happened, where are the literary icons and giants from that place? So it became a body. So I told myself that my career wasn't going to end if I do not particularly tell that story from unapologetically from the point of view of a Benin man. That was the motivation. So there were stories of some great men from the land where I was birthed. Leading the pack was Oba Vorame. Then the late Archbishop Benson Dawsa. And another one living is the great Issakaba of Benin. So I studied these three men. I said, no, there was this thing they had in common. In business and philanthropism, you talk about the Issakaba of Benin, Sir Gabriel Ibn. Then from culture and holding on to belief, you look at the travails of Oba Vorame. Then religion, particularly, Benin was adjudged the city of blood, place where people are very angry and they are vociferous and very forceful. From there, and their cultural leaning, from there came the biggest evangelist Africa had ever seen to date. So this was how I looked at these three great giants from that play. I said I was going to make a movie on both of them from our perspective. So the leading the pack was about Overame, and graciously we got funding from Senator Desi Danjuma in 2012. And starting from 2010, by 2014, Overame Ogbasi was Invasion 1897 was ready. And that brought a lot of spotlight on who is this guy, who is this guy, who is this guy. And for the first time, we had another narrative from our perspective on that issue.
And I think that's important to tell our own stories.
Yes.
Absolutely. And it's quite interesting because I was just watching the trailer for Invasion 1897. I've not had the honor of watching the movie just yet. But I'm going to ask you now, because there's a lot of history, not just behind your work, but behind even what you do.
Right.
Not the movies you do, yes, but there's also the history of where you started from, how you became a household name. In fact, if people want to say that someone is lying now, they'll say directed by, or if they try to say that this is fiction now, they'll say directed by, and they'll put your name, and I'm sure you've heard that before. So, absolutely great work you've done, but which will be your most favorite, or let me say, just favorite movie that you've done? For some of us, we know them. We know the one that ranks. Which one? I'm putting on the spot. Which one?
It's always a difficult question to answer because God has been gracious to me in my career, done a lot of blockbusters, a lot. But I'm not going to forget the work that brought me to national and international limelight. That was 1997, the movie titled Yesterday, which was on culture, on female genital mutilation. That was the first time boldly somebody was going to look at something that is with us, that we, bringing attention to the ills of female genital mutilation. That film shot me to national and international limelight. Then I think the British government was going to take that film and spread around about 4 major countries in Africa where that practice was still very heavy. So that film stays very huge in my calculation. Of course, my cultural works, so it's difficult to not say one. You cannot now take away the impact of Invasion 1897 because growing up, having a dream and being able to actualize it, Invasion was on CNN, was on BBC, showed inside the British Museum, was screened by the British Film Institute, was in New York, was all over the world. So that achieved that for me. But in terms of commercial viability and one work that was spontaneously out there, then I can't take away the great Issakaba.
There you go. I was waiting for that.
That's a surprise for me. I was thinking you were going to mention another movie, but Jeffrey.
I don't think he has. Okay, so that's how you
those ones are, of course, these 3 stands. And of course, there was a particular film that creates some kind of a balancing. When Nollywood was about witchcraft, about this, about that, we came in partnership with my great friend Ememi Song. We did Games Women Play.
There you go.
That was
game changer.
So this work stands. Had great work. ATM, comedy, Uncle Wayward, and all of that. So
Private Sin. Because people are watching and say
private scene.
Ah.
Private scene. No, the private scene was with Isong, the Remy Jazz. We did about 16, 18 movies that were then top notch. In terms, they were contemporary stories. They were like starting with emotional crack. Again, treating the issue of gay. As at that time, we were bold enough to drop such work. So, private scene, emotional crack, games we play behind closed doors were a pack of serious contemporary work written by Ememi Song and directed by Joseph Shelley.
It's quite interesting. That's why we call you the OG. How you compartmentalize what you consider the zenith of your career.
Right.
You didn't just box it in one thing, commercial. Or you look at culture, you look at commercialization, and all of that. But we look back at old Nollywood. There's some sort of a new Nollywood. Now, what will this new technology that we're seeing all over the place, which Coyote is very passionate about, by the way, AI. I'm sure you're aware of what AI is doing around the world.
Of course.
And it has its own pros and cons. And given your rich history in terms of filmmaking, you'll be 30 years next year as a filmmaker. How much of that do we need to really bring to life, reimagine our epics for today's audience? Because we have a lot of stories that we've not told.
That's where we are going. That's where we are going to right now. When we did, in the Nigerian filmmaking industry, the word epic was then bastardized, where people just wear some raffia, run around in the bush, and say it's an epic film. So we also try to correct that then, being that we're coming from a theater background and understand some of the theories that should go with such. But critically telling stories that have been is one area we've not really touched. So producing Invasion 1897 was one leading that path. Before then was Adesuwa, which was an actual story set in 1752 AD, the Edos and the Obulukus. I just read a reaction from an indigene trying to say, no, that's not how it happened. That makes it more robust. You say your own, I say my own. So the importance of us actually going back to tell some stories, because the truth politically, and let me also say here that we shouldn't also always be brought in to discuss filmmaking and art. We are also part of the larger Nigerian audience, and we are political animals too, and we have a say.
One of your colleagues was on the show how many months ago?
Yes, as far as
was running for governor.
Yeah, the Nigerian political space concern.
Yeah.
That's where the epic movies comes in. When I made Adesuwa, I was looking at the issue of greed. Has that left us? It's still the reason why we are where we are today. It has not left us. I came here yesterday, I said, let me look good for my charity people. I ran into a salon close to a hotel, and let me do some cleanup. And when I got to, I asked the guy how much. He told me, this is a special cut. It's 5,000.
A special
cut. Maybe because of my contact person was calling me another. He was able to maybe understand the person that he was cutting there. When I got through, I said, what now made it special? Did you twist my head? I'm not facing my back and all of that. That tells you where we are as a people. And if some of these things we've not gone back, because actually to forge a greater future, we must look back at where we're coming from, merging it with the reality today, and that gives us a better picture of where we should be headed. So some of these epics, now the Nigerian nation has gone back to Do Tongan Tribe Medifa. I was watching before I came in here the analysis by the erudite legal luminary, what is his name? I remember his name. He tried to explain that he put up that before during the 2014 conference. Isakaba, thank you. I'm so sure you're going to follow me correct. He put up a spirited argument why we should go back to that anthem. That it's more spiritual, it's more connecting. And actually, if you look at the word is there, I just have a problem with the timing that the devils that is eating us up now, they're just too much for that to be a problem now. But maybe that's a point if you that's a point to start from, because there's something about our past that we neglected that is haunting us today, and there's need for us to critically go to where we're coming from. Let nobody, AI, this is where we are today, another way of flying. I must be able to understand where this flight took off from. If it was 40, because before you move a flight from the ground, you see these guys, they go to check, they check the tires, they check the. If they don't do those checks, I'm sure it will be very dangerous flying. So I subscribe to us making the works of our great nationalists. It's not been documented filmically. Today, people don't read. But when I put it to the movies, they will watch. When we did Issakaba 23 years ago, the same security challenge we are having today was what motivated the coming of those guys. Today, what are we saying? People are saying, get back the state police, bring back state police, or institute state police. Isakaba, I make bold to say, brought back local vigilante, gave it the popularity it had today, because the crux of that story was that it happened somewhere. Some guys decided to take their own destiny in their hand, provide a solution,
and you're remaking
and it worked for them. Isakaba has been remade with the present reality, because what we screamed about 23 years ago has not left us. It's even worse with us now. So there is need for reintroducing Isakaba.
When is it out?
You know,
you have to tell us. When can we start?
We just finished filming. I went for a well-deserved rest, 3 months, and I just got back just yesterday to round up the process. Isakaba is coming out very soon, and you guys will be first to know. Because this is the first station I'm talking about.
This year.
Let's push it.
No,
as a matter of fact, one of the actors has started promoting the return of Isakaba already. And you know, it just speaks to the importance of retelling our stories of not just our nationalists, but you know, of our past, and the need to continue to reflect, you know, the issues that still remain with us. Talking to a colossus like you, I'm spoiled for choice. I don't even know where next to explore. But I want you to talk about, because your work traverses 3 decades. You are celebrating 30 years. Your first movie, I believe, was in 1997.
1995, Adaku. That was an Igbo language film.
Yeah, okay, 1995. And now, some young Nigerians are moving to curate Nollywood's history, you know, from the days of VHS, Betacam, to CD, DVD, and, you know, what we have now. What's the potential there for revenue generation for Nollywood?
Right. The times we are now, everybody, like I have always advocated that every time you get a call, oh, I want to be an actor. Oh, I want to be an actor. I want to be when I speak to, I have a film school, the Benin Film Academy. When we're training young people now, we're telling them the movie making business is very diverse. There's a whole lot. The theoreticals of Nollywood, it's, of course, next year I'm releasing 4 books.
4 books?
4 books. There is a lot of collections on my works and several other areas. You cannot take away the importance of documenting some of these transitions in book form. Documentaries, those areas that, like the first question I made, Benin, the land of kings, and with the success of that work, I want to do a whole lot of culturally relevant works. We want to look at child naming ceremonies. We want to look at marriage ceremonies. We want to look at a whole lot of cultural things that should be protected. And the academics, using the instrumentality of the academics, will work. And that also brings about the romance, the needed romance between town and gown as it affects the Nigerian film industry. So Benin University of Canada, they are doing that because I'm affiliated to them running the Benin Film Academy. We also instituted the International Student Film Festival. All these are deliberate. The next one is holding from 16th to 19th of September at the University of Port Harcourt. This is a festival that will be moving from campus to campus. And this idea is to get these young ones, to expose them to other areas of filmmaking and give them a platform to jumpstart their career.
I need to quickly come in here. We can go on and on with you, going about the history of Nollywood and what the future holds. We're glad to hear that Isakaba is coming soon, and I'm sure a lot of people are excited about that. But 2 things I want to quickly raise with you. On the one hand, how do you handle criticisms? For example, the Invasion movie. A lot of people said, oh, the visual effects didn't quite look like the Hollywood that they are used to, and the rest. I don't know if you've seen comments like that. So how, as a creative, do you handle some of those criticisms? Because there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. That's on the one hand. On the second hand, I saw a video of a lady who was in tears, and she was like, you said something to her, an actor, by the way. I don't know if you've seen that movie. It was an interview on Galaxy that you said some words to her, and that brought her down. And it brings about the toxicity that some people have talked about in Nollywood, in terms of the actors, how they are treated, the welfare. Some even say that they go as far as being sexually harassed. It's a two-edged sword, but these are issues that you have to deal with on a daily basis. How do you speak to that?
Criticism is, I'll say this. Criticism was one thing that built me as a filmmaker. I'm always very particular about what some person is going to say. And I tell friends, when they commend my work, so that was a great job, they just added a bigger responsibility to me. So when next I'm on set, I'm bothered about, I hope I'll be able to sustain the positive appraisal I got from so and so person. That's one. You also look at how people say, oh, this was not good enough. This was not good enough. We are making Isakaba return, and there's a huge burden of, even the actors, because we got back almost everybody that was there 23 years ago. Everybody, but I hope we were able to, we did our best. Let me tell you some truth. There is no work of art that will be completely 100% perfect. No matter how great it is, no matter how beautiful it is, somebody must find something that he or she doesn't like. But yours is that you do the best that you can and leave the rest to God, as I would say. That's one. As for
60 seconds now. 60 seconds. We're out of time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
As for
the other point
of when we are on set, the pressure as a film, as a director, the pressure is much. And here, everybody expects that you should do all the work. You tell the artist what, the costume, the makeup, this as a director. And you know the way it is. Financially, you do not have that luxury of time and finance to say, okay, we have 2 years to prepare for this work. You get on set, anybody can. So you now discover that you expect an actor, you've been given a script, you should prepare. So Stanislavski will say an actor prepared. But quite frankly here, to be a successful director, you must not sleep, you must not drink water, you must not eat. You must be the makeup artist, you must be the director, and you must be the producer, you must be everything. That enormous workload sometimes makes you to react. And somebody comes on set and so this is supposed to be a line, it's not well. Even pronunciations of words, we are making an English film. Can you be able to say this thing well, and they don't, and you can't help, sometimes you scream, and that gets to some people and whatever. Well, is part of the job, and it happens everywhere. I film from here to Hollywood. I thought we were doing it differently until I was invited to Hollywood 2006 to shoot. I discovered that it's not really too different. The only difference that they have so much money to spend.
This says a lot, that an excellent director will make an excellent actor as well, if the actor is willing to learn. We have so much more to ask you, but we're going to have to bring you back. Please commit to returning to the morning brief.
Oh, sure. I like it here, the professionalism. And I must say that it was only when I was a guest on CNN and BBC that Chova was sent to bring me to the studio. And I saw that today with Channels Television. That's kudos, guy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Director, scriptwriter, soon to become pastor,
big man now.
Documentary producer. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you so much.
Ambassador Dr. Lancelot Odua Imaswe. Thank you so much.
Yeah.